Good evening, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Shaukat Bhai, for that kind introduction. One of the disadvantages of being the last speaker is almost all that needs to be said is already get said. Nevertheless, in short time I have, I will summarize something which I was asked to do. First of all, let me thank Hazrat Maulana Madani for taking time all the way from coming here for India and enlightening us about the ground reality and advising us. And I also want to thank Mufti Pandor. When I was here last October, he gave all his week. He hosted me, took me many cities, arranged many meetings so that we can talk about hoping organizing some kind of organization so that we can start an organization. And Alhamdulillah, that happened. Thank you, Mufti Sahib. I also want to thank Brother Owais here, who came in from nowhere, which usually happens when Allah sends somebody, when He sees the gap and He sent the right person and He made it happen. So thank you very much. Obviously, there are other people involved in it, and from the beginning, Dr. Umair, Brother Basit, Brother Shahabuddin, many people are here, which I don't want to name everybody. Strive as an organization, Brother Sagir is here, Brother Shaheen, many people. So I thank everybody for this. This is personally a pleasure for me to see something like this started here. Now, moving forward, I can just only share my experiences that Indian American Muslim Council, which I am one of the co-founder, was started right after Gujarat massacres. I sometimes become very uncomfortable when it is referred to as events. Those were not events, those were massacres, pogroms, ethnic cleansing. Just 5 days back, now in February 28th, it started many years back in 2022. The ethnic cleansing started, and trust me, I'm sure many people here are from Gujarat, that ethnic cleansing continues to date. It's not done. There are walls between Hindus and Muslim communities. There are no government services where Muslims are in majority. This is continuing. There are thousands of people who died and hundreds of thousands of people who are still in a refugee status when it started there. So I think I humbly request, let's take 60 seconds, just in silence contemplate what that means. 60 seconds. When we are counting seconds, they look long. This was only less than 60 seconds, but imagine for over 20 years the suffering is happening after Gujarat. And the ethnic cleansing still continues, and the marginalization of Muslim continues. But guess what? Somebody said it was a experiment, Gujarat experiment. That was actually was told by Parveen Togadia, the VHP leader at that time. He had warned that this is an experiment. And that experiment still continues to rest of the India. It's not limited to Gujarat. It's happening in other states across India. And now it has reached shores of other countries, including this country, this neighborhood, right here. There are many forms of this Gujarat experiment. There are many shapes. many manifestations. They are happening across India and around the world. But let's talk about UK. We know what's happening here. We know what's happening in the neighborhood right here. And the question is, what needs to be done? It's very simple. We need to educate people. Somebody said that education is the key to the empowerment. Yes, definitely education is the key for empowerment. But if that education is limited to gainful employment, engineering and doctor and management, then that's only the education just to get a job and make money for the employer. That's really not the complete sense of education. We need to educate ourselves about how the society works, how the government works, how the taxes we pay get spent, where it gets spent, whether those taxes are being spent for the benefit of the taxpayers or to manufacture arms and wage wars. We need to know this. That's part of the education. And this education also includes educating the people of influence, people in the media, people in politics, people in sitting in Lords of House and House of Lords and House of Commons. We need to do that. We, because nobody else is going to do that. Trust me, nobody else is going to do that. Chinese are not going to do that because they don't know what's happening. Their lives have not affected with it. South Koreans are not going to do it. Irish are not going to do it. Polish are not going to do it. Russians are not going to do it. Indians have to do it. And within Indians, every Indian has to do it. Indian Hindus have to do it. Indian Christians have to do it. Indian Muslims have to do it. Indian Dalits have to do it. But at this time, the targeted community is Indian Muslims. So primary responsibility at this time is that Muslims need to do their own part. Other Indians need to do it, and many other Indians are doing, including some Hindus are doing. But let's see what we are doing as Muslims, as Indian Muslims. One thing I can assure, if Indian Muslims don't lead it, not many people may do this on their own. If Indian Muslims don't do this, then we are outsourcing it. This is something we can't outsource. This is not IT. This is life. This is future. This is future of our children. We can't outsource it. We have to do it on our own. We can't just even write a check and say we have done that. I have sent some charity to India for an orphan or for a school, for a madrasa. It's not going to happen like that. We have to get involved. In India, Muslims and others, they are doing all they can to fight this, including going to jail, getting killed, getting burned. Maulana Sahab can tell all about what's happening in India. So we can't, sitting from the comfort thousands of miles away in a country relatively free, can say, oh, they need to do their part there. They are doing it. I am not going to judge what Indians are doing or not doing, what Indian Muslims are not doing, because I am not living there. But I'm living here. I'm living in US. I'm living in a Western country, in a democracy where there is relatively freedom to do what we need to do, what we can do, and that is education. If we don't even know who is our MP, if we don't even know who is our councillors in the cities, our mayor, or even if we know, but we don't even go talk to them, they're not going to know what's happening. They're not going to learn what's happening. They don't know how many people are getting killed. They don't know whose houses are being bulldozed. Even if they know, they will know the other side of the story. And trust me, whether it congressperson here or MPs here, India is not the only country they work with. There are over 200 countries. Every country has some issues. It's not the only Indian Muslims or Indian minorities suffering in the world. There are many countries, there are a lot of issues happening. And everybody wants to speak to congressperson or an MP. but whose issues will resonate more, who actually go to them, speak to them with data, with reports, analysis, and in a way that they understand it. Something they can do that data, they can do some policy work with the data. But even if we don't even contact them and expecting them to do something, it's unrealistic. From my experience of Indian American Muslim Council in US, we have learned that most politicians, most congresspersons or state legislatures are willing to listen. In democracy, generally speaking, the one genius of democracy is if somebody is elected, they have to get elected again. So if their constituents, if their voters want to meet and talk to them and have some ask from them, they do listen because they need to get re-elected. And in US, the House of Representatives need to be re-elected every 2 years. So that makes it all the time, we have their attention all the time. What we don't have is enough people, if I'm talking about US, enough people to go talk to all the congresspersons as many times as we can. So we do what we are doing, we can do a lot more. And the Indian diaspora is spread out across the world, but there are 4 regions where Indian diaspora is in critical mass. One is US. There is some work happening, a lot more needs to be done. The other is Canada. There is very little work happening, relatively speaking, more needs to be done. Then the Gulf region, there the political environment is such that they can't do anything. They are doing what they can, sending money to India and education and charity and all that. The 4th region is UK. UK has critical mass of Muslims and Indian Muslims and Indians. So there is a lot of opportunities here can be done, but individually it can be done, hence UKIMC. But just establishing an organization and launching it is not going to do much. It will require people. It is no less than like a business. In a business, you have a team, management team. You have a CEO, you have a COO, you have a CFO. That's the model will work. So unless and until there is a team to run this organization then needs money so that we can hire staff, subject matter experts who can actually do what I mentioned, speaking to MPs, speaking to media, speaking to relevant people, and they are available 9 to 5, not in the evenings, not on the weekends. So volunteers can do that. So we need a hybrid model. That's what we have in US. We have volunteers who do the work that can be done in the evening or weekends. Then we have staff hired who can do the 9 to 5 work and the subject matter expertise we need. Similarly, EU has a lot of opportunities. We work very closely with the London Story Foundation. They have amazing work with the European Parliament and also with Human Rights Council. We work very closely. So there is a lot of knowledge between IMC and TLS Foundation, what to do, how to do, that we are happy to share with UKIMC once the team is ready and there are resources are available that we can happy to share with you. I am taking liberty to offer TLS support, which I know she will be happy to, depending on her schedule. So I say that this is a great start, and I congratulate everybody here. And I, again, like everybody else says, please support it. Eventually, we need the people who can do this work. because people are the only one who can give money and ask money and bring the money. So if there are no people, no mission. And if we are people, if there is no money, no mission. So with that, I end. Thank you very much.